Any moment now. Good evening. There we are. How's it going? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Reseller Show, episode number 27. Just a few minutes late because that's what happens in real life. I'm afraid with live shows, sometimes things don't go to plan. But hey, we're here as always on a Monday evening. And my name is Andy Lawrence.
And my name is Massive Action Kev Blackburn.
And for you this evening, we're going to be chatting about all things reseller related. And every time Kev Blackburn says massive action, he's going to get one of those.
That's it. Massive action.
Count. I tell you what, actually, on a different note, we were talking about maybe doing a competition for our 6-month reseller show anniversary, and I thought of a great idea, but I think it might be too difficult. But they should actually figure out how many times you said massive action in the last 6 months on the reseller show. Guess the number of sweets in a jar type of thing. The only trouble is we'd have to pay someone to go back and count it, which would be quite an epic task, I think.
I know, but we are hiring a team member for the Reseller Show, so I mean that could be one of their first tasks. Yes, yeah. Exactly. Good to see you guys. Matt's in, Chris is in. Hi guys, good to see you. Sorry we're a little bit delayed. It's just one of those things. It happens.
That is the way it goes, alas. But we'll get it sorted. And the main thing is that we're here and we're joining you this evening, I guess. But let me see if I can get the comments.
Yeah. What's new with you, Andy?
Yeah. Oh dear. Hold on. Sorry. Need to turn that off. Just bringing the comments up. Yes, I've had a pretty hectic week, actually. Yeah, Kev. I've been running around trying to do a few different things. And what I've been trying to do is put together a wholesale live event for tomorrow for Matt Webley's community and the Secret Well project, because Matt said to me, everyone's getting really stirred up by your posts in the group about wholesale. Let's get you on and let's get talking on a webinar. So I've just been trying to furiously put as much into that as I can, because I love doing these live things, as you know, Kev. And if I'm going to do one, I want to try and do one to the best of my ability. So, I want to try and bring something new each time. Every time I do it, I want to say, okay, how can I make it better? How can I make it different? And so it's a bit stressful, but it's a good stress. It's not an unhealthy stress. It's something that I want to try and do to make things better. So that's what I've been doing.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Get that all sorted.
I think that pretty much sums you up, Andy. The reality is you wouldn't be doing what you've been doing for so long if you didn't get some type of good satisfaction from helping people. I think the truth comes out from people after about sort of 4 weeks. After about 4 weeks, people just give up and then you don't see them again. But you've been doing this for a decade, Andy. So it's if there wasn't a part of you that loved to do what you do, and then spend the time in your spare time in your evenings to think about what else you can do for the audience and serve individuals to get results, it sums you up. That's the difference between that. I'm just telling you the truth, mate. That's the difference between somebody like yourself who gets people results, because you will fight to the death to get people results. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, sometimes that's kind of what it takes. But yeah, sometimes I have to drag them kicking and screaming to success. But hey, it is like that, because sometimes I see the potential in people, because I've been doing it for a while, and you kind of see different types of people, and I think to myself, I know they've got it in them. I know they can do it, but there's a few holdups, and sometimes it's a mental thing. Sometimes it's there's a learning thing that I can identify and say, this is what you need to do. Go ahead and do that. But sometimes it's just give them a really good talking to and saying, you're right there. You're really close. Just get your mindset right. You're right where you need to be. But sometimes I literally have to really take them by the scruff of their neck and say, get on with it. But it's great. I love it. It's good fun.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that we're going to put a link for you guys that are interested in wholesale and Andy's event thing tomorrow night. We're going to put some links in descriptions and stuff. We've not done anything with descriptions up until this point because we're 5 minutes late. Apologies. But there's going Yeah, there's going to be a link in the description a little bit later on. We'll put a link out on the group as well.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, that's 7:00 tomorrow. So if you're around and you want to join me live with Matt Webley, who's probably in the chat, there he is. Yeah, Matt's in the chat. So if you want to join me and Matt to have a bit of a chinwag about wholesale and that sort of thing, then you're more than welcome. I'd appreciate your company.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so
just to quickly add on this Thursday as well. God, you're going to be busy if you decide to do everything that we're talking about this week. But this Thursday, I've got my second masterclass as well, completely free, a live masterclass talking all things senior assistants. So last week, I actually did a trial. We had about 19 people all around doing screen shares with me, talking all things Google Sheets and Master Sheets. And it was really, really quite enjoyable. We went on for about an hour and a half, just doing lots of different screen shares, sharing inside my business, basically, on the evolution of the sheets and how to use them. And I'm going to be doing the same thing again this Thursday as well, where it's going to be more to do with senior assistants. So I'm going to share with you exactly what I've done with my senior assistant team since the recruitment in 2016 to this point now, what they're doing up until this point. So if that interests you, there's going to be also a free bit of training as well. Just huge amounts of value coming from this Reseller Show.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this is it. That's the whole point of it, is to get people thinking, get people talking, and to bring community together, to put our heads together to try and hopefully make everybody's life better. And that's what this is all about. And it's a good excuse to hang out and have a chin wag about our favorite subject. So yeah, it's all good in the hood. Let's have a look at who's in the chat this evening before we get cracking on the first subject. So Matt's in, as always. Good to see you, Matt. Chris Sea Dog, Elsie is in the chat as well. I named him the other day, so you're not going to get away from that one, Chris, I'm afraid. Luke's in. Good to see you, Luke. Thanks for popping in and say hello. Mandy's in as well. Is that 2 weeks in a row, Mandy? That's pretty good. That's doing pretty well.
Great to have Mandy here.
Simon's in as well. Good evening, Simon. Sean is in. Our pocket rocket. Sean is ready to go. Joe,
I absolutely love what you put this morning, Sean.
That is awesome. If you haven't been on the Reseller Show Facebook group in the last 24 hours, go and have a look what Sean posted. It did make me ruffle. Just first thing in the morning, it did cheer me up. I appreciate that, Sean. That was funny.
Yes.
Sam's in as well. Hey, doing, Sam? It's always good to see you. John is here. I was just trying to figure out your username, John. So John's in and Emmanuel's in as well. A great bunch of people in already today. So good to see everyone. All right. I just wanted to say real quick as well, if you want to make sure you get notifications every Monday when we go live, if we are a few minutes late, as soon as we go live, you'll get a notification. If you subscribe and hit that bell notification icon, and if you're listening to this on the replay on the podcast, go ahead and subscribe to the Reseller Show YouTube channel, hit the bell notification, and then you should get a push notification to your phone or to your laptop whenever we go live. And that's the best way to know that we're going live, and just so you don't miss it if you want to join us live. So that's all I want to say about that.
And also, guys, we just a bit of information. We are going to be talking Amazon buy box changes and things. So if you guys have got any, questions, topics, or anything that you want us to discuss, like a part of the show, then don't hesitate to message in, and use the Facebook group if you want to capture anything sort of during the week, and we'll talk about it, because we are trying to structure the show as best we can with some latest news and then some topics to talk about. We are trying to we're in the process of looking at hiring some help, because there's lots involved. Andy's obviously very busy. I'm very busy. So we're going to get a lot better over the next couple of weeks. So exciting times.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just now we've been going for a while, and we appreciate that it's something that everyone wants to see, and it's a growing community. We just want to step it up a little bit from here onwards, make it a little bit more professional, bring in some help to make sure things are running smoothly, and also step it up and bring in some new features, and just make sure we can help you guys as much as possible. So yeah, stay tuned for all the different things that are coming up about that. I'm looking forward to it. We want to get your guys' feedback as well. So if there's anything you think we could improve about the show or any features you want to see, then any suggestions are going to be appreciated. We'd love to hear from you. So in the comments down below, if you're on YouTube, or just hit us up in the Reseller Show Facebook group, and would be good to hear from you.
Yeah. So shall we talk about I guess the main discussion of the week that I've seen, and to do with this Amazon buy box changes?
Absolutely. I think we should. It's got to be the main subject for this week. It's a lot of people have been talking about it. It's kind of weird what's been going on. There's been a lot of emails backwards and forwards. So I know that your team, Kev, has been doing some research about this. So I'd love to hear what you found out so far, and for you to kick us off on this subject.
Yeah. So I guess to bring you guys up to speed, or to bring if you're watching this back later on in the recording up to speed, there's been some changes on Amazon's part on how the buy box is working. And what was apparent, lots of people are experiencing this. They were losing, the buy box was disappearing. So instead of there being a buy box, what there was is that options, like see all buying options, which basically changes the way things work, because the customer now has to click into the to see all the different sellers, and then ultimately they probably end up choosing that top one. And the listing, in terms of the how the listing is discovered through search and things, I'm convinced if there's no buy box, it will have some type of effect on the discoverability of any listing as customers search. That's most likely the reason why lots of the sales do change, the rate of sales do change when something like this happens. So there was a number of guys, especially in the couple of the groups. I assume that you saw this as well, Andy, mentioning about emails, people getting emails saying that Amazon are basically saying that you should lower your prices, and they're giving sort of suggested price, which was in many cases the same as the same as, or if not lower than what people are buying products for. Mm-hmm. Which is completely, when you think about the effect of that, of the business model in a whole, that could be catastrophic if something significant like that happened. Now, personally, for us, for the work that we've done, we've not actually felt any effect whatsoever. We've not had any effect whatsoever in our sales. Our sales have been very, very consistent throughout this period. There has been a slight change in the number of buy boxes that we've got, but it's not been like, crap, Amazon have changed everything and now everything is fallen over. And I think what's happening is it's they're looking at how much more the price is compared to, I guess, the what they think the price should be, I guess. Mm-hmm. If something can be found at a major supplier or a major supermarket or something for like £10, and you're selling it there for £100, obviously that's been flagged up somewhere for being sort of like unrealistically priced. So we haven't actually found a catastrophic difference in our prices, and that might be due to our average margin. We're looking at about 50 to 70% margins, which are not really all that high. It's not like we're talking 2, 3, 4, 500%. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we haven't been bombarded with email saying that lower your price, do this, do that. I just know that lots of people have been talking about it. So I'd just be interested I was going to put a poll out on the Reseller Show to get a bit more of a broader idea of what is happening. If you've been affected, if you've not been affected, I would love to know, you guys in the chat that are all like selling and you got your sellers accounts now, Have you been affected? Have you seen any type of step change in buy boxes, sales, etc.? It'd just be interesting to know what is happening on a broader scale.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Kev. On the small snapshot of information I had, I think it was Simon that was posting in the Reseller Show group, and he mentioned one of his listings, and we went backwards and forwards and asked a few questions. And the one that he had in particular, where his was deselected, was an item that I would say was almost double what you might call the RRP potentially. So again, I mean, this is not something that's new. I've noticed for a number of years where if it usually has to go quite a long way past, but if you've got a listing that is kind of running away where you've still got a lot of demand, but maybe supply has run out, and then the price goes up and up and up because there's still demand, but there's less and less people. And then so the people on there are turning the screws a little bit, and that price is going up. Quite often, Amazon will react to that and deselect the buy box. It doesn't really matter at that stage because there's little demand. If they just go for the cheapest, then that's still going to be the person who's getting the money. So to a certain extent, unless they physically delete that listing, which they won't do, that isn't so much of a problem. Where it's a problem is if you're trying to oversell on the RRP and there's still some merchant sellers there, then obviously that's going to cause a problem, because by deselecting the buy box, they're going to go straight and look at the cheapest one. But if there aren't merchant fulfilled sellers anyway, and you're somewhere near enough one of the cheapest on there, doesn't have that much effect on what's going on. So that's all I can see at the moment in terms of anecdotal information, is maybe they've just turned up the frequency of the listings that they're actually deselecting like that, where before it might have been on the really high ones that were going crazy. Maybe they've brought that barrier down to some more ones that are slightly less crazy, but still above where they would like it to be. Because ultimately, Amazon, I think, are trying to be known for the best possible value. And if there are listings that are getting a little bit higher than they would like, then, I mean, it still doesn't stop you, because they're saying we suggest you sell at this price, but you're more than welcome to totally ignore them and keep the price wherever you want. All it means is if you were relying on the buy box to hit those sales, as in you were selling over and above merchant sellers, then that could cause a problem. But I wouldn't be surprised in a number of cases, Kev, that it won't be that bad. I don't think it will be as bad. A lot of people are getting emails, but yeah, I'll be interested to see more feedback, but I don't think we're talking about some life-changing situations. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you've been seeing, and also it's very difficult sometimes. You've got a really good grasp of your sales, Kev. You've got a lot going on, so you could probably accurately see what's going on in your business. If you have a smaller amount of stock lines over a smaller amount of time, sometimes you might just get a natural spike or a natural lull. So if people are panicking, say, oh, my sales are down, maybe your sales are down a few percent this week anyway, or maybe that's just the way it's been. But I think we need to see more.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it all depends on, there's many factors involved. I mean, if for example there was a significant step change, so like 50% of your business is gone, or you've lost 80% of sales overnight, apparently, then obviously it's a much more sort of significant thing to investigate. But in general, when you think of the business, like if you think about it from a fundamental point of view on like what Amazon are doing, and how, like, when we purchase products, a lot of the times it's not like we're purchasing them via sales when they're like 50%, or buy one get one free, or 2 for 3, or we're getting lots of different ways of getting the product for cheaper, whether it is through a sale, whether it is through cashbacks or vouchers or whatever the situation is. Fundamentally, it's not like we're buying them at sort of regular price. Now, I know that there are products that you do buy at just sort of regular price, and they're winners, and they're beautiful products, and they're amazing products, because you just get them all the time. But in general, the products that we do sell a lot of, the ones through sales and things, the reality is the price that you end up selling them at are usually around about the RIP anyway. They're not going to be, depending on what the history of your sales is, the data that it's showing you, the price, the stability of the price, etc. A lot of the times it's going to be roughly what their market value is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So it's not like, because what's going to happen is let's say, for example, you buy something from Disney and it's 50% off. So you're buying it for £10 and now you're selling it for like £23 or £22, whatever it is, before loads of people start to bring this buy box down. Once the sale's over and that product goes back to £20, well, the buy box is there at £20, £22, £23 anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like you're buying something for £20 and selling it for £60. That is where I'm thinking the big problems are. Obviously, Amazon, I think they're just getting a little bit smarter at when it's a ridiculous margin.
Yeah, I think so.
That's all I can assume.
Yeah, and even Simon was quite rightly saying it still sold a couple of items without the buy box. It doesn't stop your sales, but only really it makes a difference if you are selling over and above merch sellers, in which case it brings them back into the equation. But quite often that won't be the case. So yes, even when you have got hit with one of those, it doesn't mean that's over for that listing at all. It could mean that your sales will continue. So we'll have to see how it pans out. But I think it's just a slight tightening of some algorithms somewhere, and it's just out of the norm. Suddenly you get a load of emails, but as you say, you're quite within your rights to ignore their price suggestions and do what you think is right for that item. And as long as you're competitive and you're somewhere up the top, you're going to be making sales. If maybe the person in front of you's only got a few left, then maybe you're going to wait until they've sold out and you're still okay. So yeah,
and one thing I would add as well, and I guess this does go on to it does lead on to a bigger conversation that we could go on to a little bit about Amazon. Every year I find, every year since I started, this is now fourth year, going into fifth year. Every year there are some significant changes that affect you maybe more than others, and that's just the reality of building a business on something that you don't control.
Absolutely.
That's the truth. We don't have control. Like I tried to share that in my own group yesterday, where ultimately, if you build on Amazon's platform, you're living by their rules. If they decided to change something in the algorithm that stopped you being in the buy box altogether, there's nothing you can do, really. There's literally nothing you can do. So I guess a conversation that we could have is, has there been, in your time selling, Andy, anything that you can remember that's been like, God, that was as close as it's been to like, oh, that's nearly took my business, that has? Because every year there has been changes. Yeah. And I'm trying to remember some significant ones. I know last year, for example, I guess you could call it like, what did they come out with? Like Toys and Games is gated, and everyone was like, "What the hell?" There's been some stories over the years where they've come out with something where it's like, no third-party sellers. No, we didn't mean that. We didn't mean that.
Sorry, only joking. Yeah. I don't know. Those ones are just crazy. I mean, those people need to be fired immediately and kicked out the door, because I don't know what's going on when you get those ones. They literally write an email. It's like someone was bored at lunchtime. They write an email. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, actually, no, ignore that. We're not going to do that. The whole of the UK. Someone sent an email out to the whole of UK, maybe even Europe, saying we're just going to gate the entire toys and games category. And then what was it? The next day, 24 hours later, it's like, nah, we decided we're not going to do that. But, maybe you should have had a meeting, Amazon, before you wrote the email to decide whether you're actually going to do it or not. But here's the thing, Jeff wrote his letter to the shareholders recently, and it's plain to see that we as third-party sellers are doing more business than Amazon themselves. Now, that's how important we are to the business of Amazon. We are intrinsically entwined in Amazon. It would be literally financial suicide for Amazon to do anything profoundly stupid with us as third-party sellers, because it would have a massive effect on their business. It would excuse me, would write off potentially 60% of their business, which is an awful lot of money. So, I can't see anything being profoundly crazy. I mean, you'll get the odd thing maybe here and there, which you may be relying on, which may take a bit of a dent, possibly. But I think although every year, as you say, there are things that come up, the obstacles that you've got to get over, challenges that we take on, and we say, okay, what's next? Bring it on. There'll be some issues, we'll roll with it, we'll innovate, and we'll get better. That's what we do in our business, and it's kind of in a sort of way we're fighting fires. What's the next issue we've got to look over? But there will always be a business. There has always been a business, and it will get bigger and it will get better, and there will be more opportunities to come. So in that respect, over the last years, I can't think of anything that's made me go apart from that one where they said they're gating the toys and games industry category, and straight away I'm like, nah, that doesn't sound right. And if they are, I reckon I'm in anyway. That's the way I looked at it. So I'm good. Whatever they're going to do, I think I'm good. But so they'll do some strange things. I mean, back when I was selling a lot of books, and they had the rule that basically you didn't get any long-term storage fees as long as you had one item. Anything over one, then you get long-term storage fees. And then they abolished that, and that made a serious strategic change to the book industry, because all of a sudden there was a lot of potential fees coming up. And if you were doing volume at that stage, the strategy of your business would have changed a lot. And there were some people with thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of books. They would send, the criteria was very low, because you could send it in, it cost like a penny a month to store that book. It's going to cost you 12 pence a year. If it takes 4 years to sell, I don't care, because if I'm going to make 36 quid after 4 years, I'm golden. It's going up there, So that was the idea. And the problem is we were filling up Amazon fulfillment centers with books, and they said, hold on, we've got to do something about this. We're getting inundated with books. It's costing too much money. So they changed the rules. And there were some people that probably, but to be fair to them, they then said, okay, if you need to now liquidate your books or you want to bring them back, they did free pallet shipping for returns at that stage. So even when they did a big change, and it meant some people that had big volumes would have to take out a lot of stock, or else they would seriously end up with a £7,000 long-term storage fee or something. So they said, okay, if you need to take stuff out, we're going to make that, we're going to facilitate that for you. We're going to give you free pallet shipping returns, which again, they're thinking of the sellers, they're making it, trying to think of ways to make it work for them. And so that was a thing. A lot of people started sweating on that one. And you have to change. Now your decision-making strategy for those items are going to change, but it still doesn't mean there's not lots of profit, but it changes. And again, they did it they tightened up again by saying we're going to introduce a 6-month long-term storage fee again, which really turned the screws. We're going to have to adapt. We're going to have to change our making decision metrics. But it doesn't mean there's not profit. It doesn't mean there's not opportunities, but maybe the threshold's going to get tightened. And then they realized that it made too much of an impact. They realized that people stopped sending a lot of stuff in because they couldn't get it done in 6 months. So they realized it had too much effect. And guess what? They reversed it. They said, okay, fair enough. Well, they didn't admit it at all. They said they tried to make it sound like they were trying to do it for us. But it was pretty plain. It was having an adverse effect on them. So they went backwards and said, we're going to abolish the 6-month storage fee. So again, back to 12 months. And then you adapt again. So I think that pretty much sums it up, Kev, to be honest with you. You adapt as you go. They'll change things. They'll change the rules, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. You roll with the punches, you reassess, and you carry on. And that's that. There's always opportunities. You gotta roll with the punches. And if you're the type of person to get scared and throw your hands up in the air and run around screaming every time you get an Amazon email, then maybe this business isn't for you, because it will happen, as you say, a few times a year. You'll get an email and you're going to have to say, right, let's look again. But myself, Mike Resendez in the US, we've been selling for a long time. You just expect it. You say, okay, we know that it's not going to be life changing, but maybe we'll have to pivot a little bit. That's the way it goes.
That's it. That's exactly it. I have to admit what you're saying there. I think we mentioned it probably one of the early reseller shows, where I was saying that it would be fantastic for Amazon to start coming out with more support or more communication, more like direct lines of communication with each of us as sellers. Now, it don't mean that you have to have one seller representative or account manager per seller, because that'd be ridiculous. But if, for example, Amazon assigned like account managers and then every account manager had like 20 different sellers that they could communicate with, I think that is the way we're heading. We're not there yet, because what they are doing is they're doing these webinars at the minute. They're doing these Q&A series. The next one, funny enough, I just got it up here just as you were talking then, Andy. The next one is, I think it was on the 26th. So, that's just gone. So, so yeah.
I'm sure it was good.
I'm sure it was good. You came to the Reseller Show to hear the latest news, and they did a webinar 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Finger on the pulse as usual.
I mean, my point, I think you get my point. My point is that they are communicating more with us. They are doing their best to actually communicate with us and sort of work with us to make it better for everybody. And it was the right thing to do, and I hopefully they'll go more and more that way. But there's been a number of changes. Like you say, we roll with the punches. This year, the most significant change probably this year at this point has been the shipment changes, the shipment weight to 23 kilograms.
Yeah.
That's a significant change when you think about it. I mean, that's like, it could be the best part of a quarter of your shipment per box gone, that you now have to account for. So there's always going to be changes. I think the message that I've certainly tried to share, and I think everybody does share, that we use Amazon, just don't rely on Amazon. Like, use them to get to a point where you can start to build other things, just so you can pivot if you needed to. Hopefully it never gets to a point, and you're going to do everything you possibly can. And we've mentioned so much on the show about what you can do to protect your account first and foremost. The quality control systems that you've got in your business to make sure that you are not found, or you inadvertently sell something that you shouldn't sell, or you get scammed and you try to sell something fake that you think is real, and that sort of stuff. It's really important to be as proactive as possible in your business to prevent that stuff from happening in the first place. But then obviously long term, you're using Amazon, but then try to diversify from Amazon. And I think everybody sort of understands that now, especially with the amount of the amount of, I guess, horror stories that we've heard of, and that people have gone through challenging times. And I think people know that. So, just quickly, a couple of shout outs in the chat for you guys. It's really, really good to see you all. I think Chris said earlier, there was 11 in the chat. There's 15 of us in the chat now, which is amazing. So I appreciate everybody that's watching. We are getting a few more viewers. Do get involved. Looking forward. Good to see you, Neil. Hit the like button. Yeah, really appreciate that, Sam and Matt. If you would hit the like button at this point, obviously every little bit of support that we'd appreciate. Mandy says I should be making a certain video, procrastinating.
Get on with it. Get on with it. Get on with
it. Yeah. Sean says, my sales have been growing, fantastic, especially yesterday. I'm buying stuff cheap to sell at its average price anyway, probably 4 or 5 items from Amazon to lower prices. Yeah, awesome, Sean. You've been taking huge amounts of massive action this year.
Nearly missed it.
Simon says, I still sold a couple of items without the buy box. Yeah. Sean, if Amazon notice the drop in sales and therefore drop in fees to them, they'll probably relax the rules again. Yeah, that's ultimately it. Amazon, they will make some type of action, but ultimately, if it's going to cause them impact with their shareholders and Jeff, etc., they're going to move things back. They're going to put things back. Just like last year when they came out with, we're getting toys No, we're not. Sorry, no, we're not. Jeff was there in his mansion going, have I just received an email saying that we're getting to, why was I not with this?
Yeah, you can just imagine him sort of spurting into his bran flakes, his coffee projectile vomiting out of his bran flakes, saying, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah, I mean, I think we discussed it last year about like, surely something as significant as this, like, it's not even like they must have. I don't know if this person was like, I don't know, like having a snooze or whatever, and he was supposed to send it to his boss saying, "Is this email all right? Is it all right?" And he accidentally went sent all UK sellers. I don't know.
I don't know. It was just I don't know. I couldn't even begin to figure out what that was all about. It was bizarre, but yeah, there we go. There's always fun and games with Amazon. That's for sure. But if you do get an email, don't take it as that's going to be the law for that forever. If it does seem a bit weird, then wait 24 hours. It may change once once a grown up's seen it.
What you don't ever want to do is, in that sort of scenario, you're like, oh no, my business, and then you start like withdrawing everything from Amazon and doing removal orders, and then 24 hours later, everything's, oh, don't worry about it, you're all right, and you're like, right, I've got like 2,000 units coming back to the warehouse.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, no, we're only joking. You're all right. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, but this is what we find, unfortunately.
There's a lot of massive action in this chat. Massive action. He said massive action.
He said it again. Right, sorry.
And Jeff's got a divorce to pay for, Matt. That's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, Jeff is probably at this point thinking he needs to make some money.
Yeah. He's getting close to. He's running out. He's down to his last 10 billion. I think he's scratching about.
That's significant, though, isn't it? I mean, it's all relative. I mean, if you only had £100 to your name and you lost £50 of it, you'd be like, that shocked me. If you had 100 billion and you lost 50 billion of it, I mean.
I don't know. It's a hard thing to try and quantify in your head, because I'd be interested. I don't really know how much when you've got multiple billions. Does he have give himself a wage? Does he like, I'm just going to transfer, 2,500 this month and that'll do me. I don't need any more. Or does he just take handfuls of capital as and when? Like, I don't know how you deal with that. But to be honest with you, it probably just sits there accumulating anyway. It probably didn't really bat an eyelid, I imagine, when it's that huge. But it's all paper, isn't it? It's all on paper. You can't possibly spend that much money unless you start doing trying to go and buy islands and various different other things like that. If you bought a few private islands, you get through it fairly quickly. But otherwise, it's not gonna touch the side. It's just crazy money. Can you imagine the interest? I don't know what his net worth is now, actually, but it's billions. So what's the interest on billions? It must be. He must be earning millions on interest just alone, if not doing anything else. But I
mean, it's. I mean, the one thing that it would be good to, I guess, touch on though is, like, that's the size of Amazon. I'm just looking at the Wikipedia page, and like, I don't know whether this is accurate or not, but I'm assuming it is. It's saying that Amazon, the number of employees was 647,500 employees in 2018. Now that over 500,000 employees. Like, just think about that a second. Like, just think about like that as in like fixed costs, and I don't know how much these people are going to be making sort of as a wage, but I mean, even if it was 1,000 per month, like you just got to think about the scale of this business, the cash flow, and the revenue. 232 billion in 2018. It's just mind blowing. It's just.
He's going to have some good accountants, isn't he? You can imagine. How many accountants he's got, and the HR department must be pretty big, I imagine, as well. But expensive Christmas party.
Yeah. But what was we talking about?
I don't know. Totally off the plot now. But yeah, who's the Zara owner? Matt was saying that he thought the Zara owner was the richest man. Who's that greasy fella that bamboozled BHS and sort of asset stripped that? What was that guy's name? Is it Philip Green? He was up there, wasn't he, at that stage? Doesn't he own Topshop and Dorothy Perkins and that lot? I can't remember. He's doing pretty well. I saw his yacht in Monaco. He's got the biggest yacht in Monaco Harbour when I was there. That was pretty big. What you can do, the great thing about these big yachts, they've all got registration numbers. You can Google the number and it tells you the owner and the value of the yacht and stuff. It's very interesting. But It was that fella.
Incredible, right?
It is. It's interesting. But yeah, he's been getting some backlash that Philip Green on terms of practices and what he's been doing with his staff. So yeah, I don't always think it's, you got someone like Bill Gates who's, I reckon, doing the right things, but you get people like Philip Green that are just, I don't know, they're just in it for more money and more money and more money, not for anything else, which is not good. Phil Green doesn't have that much money. His wife in Monaco owns all the assets. Okay, yeah, it could be. It could be, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
His wife's name. Yeah, but yeah, it is. That sort of level is just a little bit. That sort of level is almost hard to try and quantify and that's the thing about people like Jeff is he doesn't have to work. He probably hasn't had to work for years now. As you say, with that sort of net worth, you could stand still and do nothing and be earning huge amounts of money just on the collateral and the sheer volume of your money. You never have to worry about money ever again for a long time. But still, he's out there, he's working hard, he's in the trenches, he's doing what he needs to do to try and steer that business, because that's how he's got there, because of sheer passion and determination and a will to make it everything it can be. And that's quite an interesting philosophy. What is the driver after you've got everything you could ever imagine? What is the driver other than to try and make a good business? And I guess that's not a bad thing, unless it's not pure greed, which it can't be, because you can't spend it. So after that, what is there?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of these people they've got an actual mission, haven't they?
Yeah,
they've got and it's not related to money.
Yeah,
once you get that level of money, like if you're not working for anything, they've actually got a mission. That's why the likes of Elon Musk, Bill Gates, these types of people, they don't have to work, but they're driven by whatever mission that they're on. But one interesting thing that I just wanted to to point out here is Amazon compared to the size of the Walt Disney Company. And you think about Walt Disney, you think about the Disney right now, right? So Avengers Endgame, you guys have I don't know whether you guys are into Avengers and cinema and stuff like that, but Avengers has just made it's like 1.2 billion in 3 days. 1.2 billion in 3 days, right? And just to put in perspective what the size of Amazon is, even compared to the Walt Disney Company. With the Walt Disney Company, they own the likes of Marvel. They've got so many different things, right? They've got so many different subsidiaries, and their revenue was only 60 billion, and their number of employees is 200,000. So think about that and compare. Like, you think the size of Amazon, the size of Disney, and everything that they do with Disney parks and Disney and the films and everything. This still Amazon still dwarfs Disney. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Matt was saying that where was that? He's saying that Bill Gates gave a ton of money away to charity. That's the only reason Jeff overtook him. From what I've read, I think Bill and his missus have pretty much retired from active service of his business now, and I think their main concern is actually charity work. That's what they're sort of focusing on now. They have given a ton away, and I think that is pretty much what they're mainly focusing on is projects to try and help people, which is admirable. Actually, they're sort of moving over to that as a almost a full-time concern to raising money and building organizations to help charities, which is pretty good. Sean says it's cheaper to give to charity than pay taxes, but I don't think that's it. Actually, I think when you get to that stage, they've got so much. They've got a new goal now. For them is to actually make the world a better place. And how cool a place would it to be where you're just like, I'm now full time for the planet. I've made enough. I've got more than I can ever get. He's on the latter part of his life, I guess. He's achieved his goals in business and reached the top of the tree. And he's like, okay, I'm now going to move over to just working with charities, assess what the best things that I can do with my money, really learn as much about sort of the main global problems, and just focus on building a team to make the world better. I mean, it's just, how cool would that be? I'm just making the world a better place. That's all my focus, full time. Build a team around me, take massive charity action, and just get on with it. Yeah, that'd be pretty impressive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? But I mean, I would say that what Bill Gates has done in terms of the resources that these people have available. They're going to make some significant progress for us as just humans in general. I cannot wait, because I'm a big Elon Musk fan, and I absolutely love what he's doing and what he has done already, and I absolutely love what his mission is. And I know this has gone really off Amazon and reselling and stuff, but it's
good.
I think as technology goes on, it will impact us in terms of the reseller community. We've already mentioned that. I actually think, I can't wait for the day that Alexa, I think we mentioned this last week maybe, Alexa becomes a robot that we can have to go out for retail arbitrage. It'd be amazing. That's definitely going to happen in the next 10, 15 years. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening. Alexa, just go and do my OA work for me, please.
Exactly.
Go out and do my RA work. Thanks.
It's gonna happen.
The comments are the chat's running away with themselves now. Simon says Bill Gates is a star. I can even forgive him for Windows 8. Only just. only Windows 8 was kind of it's out there. But to be honest with you, nothing beats Windows 95. If I could just stay with Windows 95, I would have been happy. But that was a few years ago now.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I used Windows. I'm a big Apple fan now.
Oh yeah, you've gone to the dark side. I know, Kev. It's
they sucked me in, Andy. Like, that's it. I've now got an iPhone. I've got AirPods. I've got a MacBook Pro. I've got the watch. It's just
they'll be controlling your every movements before long. They'll just flick a switch. They'll flick a switch.
I've got an iMac at home. Yeah, I just love it. It's just amazing. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, they'll just tap you they'll connect you into the iWeb, and then you'll just be another an Apple drone just going.
Let me give you an example, right? Let me give you an example, an actual practical example for us resellers on the Reseller Show, where Apple actually makes sense. And it's like, when I found this out, I was like, oh my God, it's like changed the game. I absolutely loved it. Right?
Okay,
if you copy something. Right? If I copy something on my phone, I can paste it on my laptop. Boom. That's amazing.
Cool. So you copy it on your phone and paste it on your laptop?
Yeah, or my iMac. It links everything. So if I copy like a URL, but then I want to see it on my laptop, I can just copy on my phone and then just paste it into my laptop.
That is pretty cool.
It's just like...
No, to be fair, that is pretty cool, because if I did that, if I copied a link, I'd have to paste it, create a note into my Evernote, paste it into there, then refresh my Evernote on my desktop, grab that link and do it like that. And that's probably about 4 processes where you're just copy and paste it on your desktop.
And I actually think it applies to like photos and screenshots as well. Don't quote me on that, because I'm not 100% sure. I've not actually tried it. But when I discovered that, I was like, oh my God. What have I been doing all this time? I haven't lived.
It does mean that you can no longer ever go back. If it just weaves into your life so much, you're like, I just can't live without it now. If every Apple product just tripled in price, you'd just be like, just a slave to it now. I've got to buy it because my whole business is based around Apple products.
Yeah.
That would be pretty rubbish.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Once you go Mac, you don't go back.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. Yeah. That's what they say.
But I have actually been sitting on the fence between Windows and Mac for a while. I do got myself a MacBook, an older one that I've been shoveling full of steam and keeping it going. But that's what I love about them, is they don't seem to age like Microsoft products. If you buy a Microsoft laptop, 2 or 3 years, it's starting to slow down. It's a bit of a brick. Whereas you can buy a MacBook, and I can't remember how old my one is now. It's a good few years old. Still going like a trooper. There's no slowdown, no problem. It's stable and it's absolutely fine. And it weighs a ton. I wouldn't really take it anywhere with me because it's made of steel and glass and lead and whatever else like that. But it's good quality. You can drop it and it doesn't break. But yeah, I like it for, it's not totally, I haven't got everything Apple that far, because I like to try and mess around with both. But I do appreciate it. I'm not one of these fanboys one way or the other, but I do appreciate it. It's a nice thing.
Yeah, I mean, I like for another thing that I'm always thinking about time, and I think all of us do in this game. Like the more we can do, the more proactive we can be and productive we can be, and that's what I do like that about Apple, how slick it is. Things like that. Like for example, right now, the MacBook Pro that I'm on right now is like 4 years old, and I've got like 5 desktops on it, so you can switch between desktops. I'm streaming right now. It's connected to my phone because they're just always connected. It's connected to my AirPods. It's connected to and it's all working absolutely fine. It's like a dream.
Just works. Yeah. That is the good thing about them. Because they only have a certain number of products, they've got that research and the development time right. So everything just works. You don't have any of the issues like you have with Windows, where there's so many different potential combinations of hardware and software and products. Then there can always be conflicts and issues and stuff like that. So I get it. It does. It definitely does work. Kev, Apple, Blackburn. Could you have Kev?
Do you know what? As soon as I saw that, I was going to say Kev, massive Apple.
Yeah, that's the one. Kev, massive Apple, Blackburn. That's the one. Oh dear. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Living the dream.
Did Matt say he dropped his £3,000 laptop? Is it totally rogered now, Matt, or is it still working? It'd be impressive if it's still working.
That's devastating.
Oh, it's still working. Okay, got home insurance. Think it's covered on that, but it is still working. So waiting until it can get to an Apple store. Yeah. Oh.
So Andy, I guess we've got 8 minutes left. We've got 8 minutes left. If you guys haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that now, and we won't speak until you have.
Yeah, we're going to go on strike. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much, people. Hit the goddamn like button.
Yeah. But okay, can you give us, for the last few minutes, for you guys that are watching here, for Andy, could you give us a little bit of a sneak peek on what you're talking about tomorrow night?
Alrighty, so tomorrow night, my good friend Matt Webley from the Secret Wealth Project has asked me to come on and speak to his community about wholesale, and I've been throwing a few posts up in his community's group up there, and I just had a thought about something and shared it, and I can't believe the response I get, including a very lovely comment from you as well, Kev. Thank you for that. But there was a great response, and I'm like, this is cool. I really appreciate it. So I did another one. on and shared a few other sort of strategies. And so long story short, Matt said we need to get on a live and do a wholesale live chat. So what I'm going to do, whenever I do any of these type of things, I always want to try and do something different and bring something new, because I know that there'll be some people that have been on a live with me before where I've been talking about wholesale, and I want to try and change it up a bit. So what I've been doing is going through all the strategies that I've broken down in the past and all the ones that I've distilled in my course and said, right, what else can I share? What else can I do better? So I've been going through that. We're going to be talking. Okay, so when we get on the live, when you're finished with the live session, there will be wholesale strategies that you can implement that night. Tomorrow night, you can finish on the live and go away and implement them. And you can go straight away, take massive wholesale action on the ideas that I'm sharing, and get in and find suppliers. And these are things that I've not shared before that you can find suppliers straight away. And that's what I wanted to try and do. What can I do? What can I share with the audience where you can say, okay, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to learn from Andy, say, thanks very much, goodbye, and go, right, 1, 2, 3. Yep, there it is. That's what I found. That's what I can do. I can now make a start with my wholesale business by doing what I've learned. So I try to make it so you can literally take action straight away on what you've learned and get stuck into it. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking about some several different strategies, because some people prefer some people prefer others. So yeah, we're going to just be talking about the fact that, a lot of people think, okay, I'm going to get into Amazon, I'm going to start selling on online arbitrage, maybe I'll upgrade to Amazon one day, maybe I'll upgrade to wholesale, maybe I'll upgrade to private label. They're not independent. You can get into wholesale while still doing online arbitrage. You can get into wholesale while still doing private label. It's a good idea. Diversify. So if then Amazon come along and tweak your business a little bit, then you're not always stuck in one area. So I definitely would recommend, if you're into OA or RA or PL, then it's a good thing, another string to your bow. The more different areas you can diversify in, the stronger your business is. And that's what I try and share with people, is just a bit of experience. I kind of enjoy finding different niches and different ways of building businesses. And whenever I develop these strategies, I like to try and share different ways of getting on board. So there's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say.
Yeah, and what I will say to you guys is it's a wonderful thing, like YouTube, and you looking at like articles and stuff like that, all that. It's a wonderful thing that we have access to YouTube and things, but there's nothing quite like when you put on some training like you are doing, Andy. There's nothing quite like just going. It allows you to go deeper. It allows you to have a deeper conversation. And if it's live, it's so much better as well. And I'm looking forward to it myself. I'm definitely going to be checking it out. Looking forward to seeing what you've got to share. And I mean, this is the great thing about the Reseller Show, right? So Andy has bags and bags of experience, like over a decade. Like you can't buy that. It's incredible experience. So that's the brilliant thing about the Reseller Show, having somebody like Andy to talk to on a Monday night, and then go a little bit further on tomorrow night, which is fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully you guys do join and take some notes, get a notepad and pen and get involved and things. So that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. And the best thing you can do is make some notes and take action on what I'm going to be sharing with you, because that's the best way you can repay me, saying, right, I'm going to get stuck in, I'm going to start doing it, because that's what I want to try and do, is get more people into it and get more people making more money, because that's what it's all about. It's what makes the world go around, right?
Exactly. And that's why, and same when I at the beginning of the show, when I mentioned what I started doing on a Thursday night, is simply to go a little bit deeper with people. That's all. Like, it's a great thing being able to get on a call. And last week was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I was there with 19 other people. I was able to be in my office, do a share screen where you're actually looking in my business and things. And it was just fantastic to do a live training like that. where I was able to interact, answer questions and things. So you guys that are potentially interested in in this Thursday, talking all things senior assistants. And if you guys don't know what senior assistance is, basically having a virtual assistant in your operation. So one of the things that allowed myself to get myself out of the business is by using virtual assistants. And they can do so many things for you, such as they can get into your Seller Central account. Yeah, I don't very often go into my Seller Central account at this point because I've got managers in place and people in place for that. They can do your customer messages, your customer feedback, repricer. They can do your inventory adjustments. They can do your reports. They can do so much. They can do your purchasing. They can do the reviewing of products. They can do sourcing. There's so many things that virtual assistants can do. And I just thought it'd be a great opportunity to, if any of you guys are interested, learning a little bit more about my own personal journey of recruiting, the experience that I've had, recruiting, firing, training, everything that I've done. I think I checked my Upwork account and we spent something like over £13,000 or something daft on virtual assistants. Wow. It's a lot of experience that I've had, and that's what the live training allows you to do. Allows you to share a little bit more deeply. And that's where I think my personal opinion. I think this is where the reseller show is a good show, because you've got two people that are also currently in the business models that can help you.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what I wanted this to be, and that's what jointly we're trying to make happen is just organically finding its place and finding what we can do to help people the best, and just getting on and working things out, getting our heads together and talking live and figuring stuff out as we go, like we did at the beginning here, trying to get to the bottom of what's happening next and what we're doing with our business and what we're expecting to happen. Then that's just how the best way I think we can possibly do to help you guys. So yeah, it's an organic process, and I'm enjoying the journey so far. It's been good fun, and just to have a laugh at the same time and hang out with you guys is just a good way to spend a Monday evening. So
I would say I think Sam said this has been the best non-reseller show yet.
We talked about Amazon. I'm sure we talked about Amazon tonight.
Hey, I'm convinced as our journey goes on, we're gonna have all sorts of conversations. I think we had one conversation with what did we talk about? Sausage rolls, was it?
There was.
I think that was one episode. Yeah. We've had some funny conversations, but that's what this is all about, right? That's what a show's all about. It's not really structured. We just get on live. I mean, we are trying to become a lot more structured for you guys. Hence why we're starting to put some investment into the show. And hopefully a virtual assistant and having a team member that can collect this information for us. So I guess we can end the show just a little bit of information on that. Basically what our idea is we're going to have a Reseller Show team member, which hopefully we're going to hire at some point. And this team member is going to develop the show notes for us, going to be in the Facebook group collecting you guys' questions and the topics, and just looking generally at the news, what's happening in terms of the world of Amazon and things, collecting all that information for us so me and Andy can actually bring it to you. And that's what our vision ultimately of the Reseller Show is. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I can't wait. Just to bring a bit more organization into the back end to make sure that whole thing runs smoothly, so we can bring you the best we can on the front end, which is a Monday night. So that would be a help. I'm getting distracted by chicken. Stop talking about chicken, Sean. Jesus, man, give me a chance. It's in my right eyeball. All I can see is pictures of chickens coming.
Yeah, it's like a massive chicken on the screen or something.
Stop it. Yeah, it's good to see the cough's gone. Yeah, let's talk about the cough, Kev. I haven't heard you cough once today.
I haven't actually coughed for a while now. I can't remember the last time I coughed. It was, I think it was some type of, don't know, some sort of allergy or something. It wasn't like a it wasn't like an infection or anything. So I don't know. I don't know whether the last event that I had here, I was doing a lot of screaming and shouting and stuff. So whether that cleared something out, I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever it is, it's gone. So it's good to see that you're back up to 100% there. That's maybe it was walking over the coals. Maybe walking over the coals did it. A bit of non-standard treatment.
Yeah, probably. It might well be. And I've got a half marathon to run on Sunday, so
awesome.
I'm going to be next Monday. It'll be the day after I've done a half marathon, so not quite fit enough for a marathon. So you guys that did the London Marathon yesterday, hats off to you. Big respect to you guys. Especially that guy that did it in the London Tower. Did you see that? And he couldn't get past the finish line. He ran 26 miles and then he got stuck at the finish line because his tower was too big.
Too big to get under the line. Oh God.
So next week I may be I don't know. Mind you, I'm sitting down now, so might have to lay down on a bed or something.
Yeah, you'll have to rest your legs, I imagine. Put some frozen peas on there to keep them all right. But yeah, good luck with that, man. It's a good mile marker. So you're saying this time next year it will be the full marathon or 6 months? I'm
working towards it. I mean, one of the things, I enjoy running. I'm one of those weird people that just enjoy running. I listen to a bit of music and just run and try not to stop running, and thoroughly enjoy it. And hopefully, I'm going to do a marathon at some point, but I'm not entirely sure when. I might not do a marathon.
Yeah, you'll do a marathon. There's no way Kev Massive Action would not ever get to the point of taking massive action on the marathon.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'll end up the way I work, Andy. When I decided to do the half marathon, I was actually going to do like a 10K, and I always go one step above. So now I'm thinking marathon. Do I just go for an Ironman instead?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why not? Just go for it. This is the thing. Once you've got it in your mind, it's like, well, I've done the half marathon. It's like, what's next? You've got to go for the marathon. There's no other way around it. It's just what's next. So I'm sure you will, and you'll smash it, Kev. I know you will, because you only do things by putting massive action into it. So you will. I know you'll do really well.
Massive action every single day.
I think we should end on that note. That's a good way to end it. Whatever you're doing.
Yeah, we'll take massive action and finish this show.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, I've had a lovely time with you all. Thanks, you guys in the chat. You've really made it a good fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you guys, hanging out. Even the weird pictures you've been putting up trying to distract me have been entertaining. And hopefully we'll see you.
For you guys that are listening to this on the podcast, we are looking at pictures of is chicken, is that a snowman, snail, rainbow, the golden bell, buzzer, whatever you want to call it. We've got
golden
apples
on there. Yeah. It's crazy. It is. They're an uncontrollable bunch. We've created a monster, Kev. That's what we've done. We've created
only on the Reseller Show.
Absolutely. And if you're listening to this back, you should be on the live, because it's all happening on the live.
Yeah, I mean, I am right now. I'm in like the warehouse. Like, I don't know whether I can just show you this. I mean, it's like all dark and stuff, and it's quite creepy. I'm not gonna lie. Just being like here in the warehouse by myself, I lock up. It's not good.
Well, at least if anything weird happens, at least we'd have it on camera anyway. So that live on camera, if there's something spooky happening, we'd.
I know that'd be horrendous, wouldn't it? Like live on YouTube, like Kev being thrown down the stairs or something.
Yeah, that would be quite weird. But hey, it would be good for YouTube anyway, if nothing else.
Yeah. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys for joining, and
well,
as always,
we'll see you next Monday.
See you later.
See you later, guys.
Bye-bye.